folks, as you can see, it's still drizzling. It stopped for about 20 minutes and we decided, okay, well, we'll get the vehicle ready to go out again. And as we started getting the vehicle ready, another wave of drizzle came through, and what I'm going to do is, we are up on an elevation here. I'm just going to pan around and show you guys there's these drizzly clouds surrounding us, and they do come through in waves, so it is going to make broadcasting very tricky. But we are going to stay out now for as long as we possibly can until the next wave hits us. When it does, we will then probably seek shelter again and call it quits for this morning. It's quite strange though, we can feel the sun coming through the clouds. They're not very thick, but this drizzle gets all the equipment so wet that, I mean, if you just maybe point the camera down there onto the horizon, you guys will get an idea of the kind of soupy, drizzly weather that is surrounding us. It really is quite peaceful and very nice and cool, but sadly broadcasting becomes difficult in the wet. But let's see, hopefully we will remain dry enough and these waves may miss us, and hopefully the sun does its job and starts burning through these clouds. So myself and Jason had a flat tire. We went off road to go and look around Treehouse Dam for any potential sign or further sign of Djuma, and as we got the flat tire, it started raining, so not good timing, but all part of the adventure. Just some hyena tracks, making sure they weren't leopard that we just went past. So myself and Jason changed the tire. Sadly, we're going to have to replace the whole tire. The side wall got completely torn by a very small little stump, but a hard stump that tore straight through the tire. So that is going to need to be replaced, not fixed. And we are going to try and but we also had some technical issues with the satellite uplink. That was another broadcast issue. It wasn't the flat tire that we stopped broadcasting for. Jason, I've seen one of your friends on the road. Oh, yeah. An animal that moves at a very similar speed to you. Unless you're in a tree, of course. There you are more comfortable. But as you can see here, folks, we've got a tiny little tortoise in the road, and I'm actually going to get out to give you an idea of how small it is. It's tiny.
Watch out for its killer jaws.
So that gives a good idea of exactly how small that leopard tortoise is. I got a little bit of a fright there as I was walking towards it. A small duiker sprung up and dived off through the undergrowth. Anyway, that's a beautiful little leopard tortoise we've seen there, and I've noticed that the rain certainly does make them a lot more active. So that may be the first of several that we see on the right. Well, I'm very glad we did get out and at least have another try as much as we can this morning. The game drives got a date from them. A lot of them have also taken refuge back in the lodges. The one or two vehicles that are still don't have any updates for us, sadly. Got a pretty bird of prey here, and with the starlings nearby, I'm hoping they may give it some admin, which will be entertaining for us to watch. This is a pale form of a Whalberg Eagle. They're typically a dark chocolate brown color. But let's keep an eye on these starlings. They may fly over and peck at its head. No, that one flew away. Drongos are also very good birds for mobbing birds of prey. Now I wonder, there is a nest in the fork of the knobthorn tree to the left of it. Jason will be able to pan across and show you. There's actually two platforms of two different nests quite close to one another in this knobthorn tree that you will shortly see. And I wonder if the Whalberg Eagle is planning on nesting in there. I can't see any bird in there now, but it could well be the nest of this bird we are looking at now. So that's something for us to monitor. Another bird's nest. Just going to see if we can get a little bit closer, and that way get a tighter shot of this bird. They've got a very pretty little crest on the top of their head. So I'm hoping they'll be able to. And this angle here, I believe, may do it a little bit more justice. Well, as it turns its head again, or even from this angle, you can see a few wettened crest feathers. There we go. You can tell from this angle that we're pretty much below this bird. So thankfully it's relaxed and probably reluctant to fly because it is wet. But thankfully we are not wet, and the drizzle that I feared was going to come in and cause trouble for us hasn't yet. So the show goes on. Now the plan is to stay relatively close to the lodge in case it does start getting wet again. That way we can ensure to keep all of this high-tech equipment on the vehicle dry and in working order. But thankfully the Djuma lodge and surrounding areas offers several game viewing, especially good LED viewing. So let that make you feel that we don't have a chance of seeing something really impressive, because we do. So we'll start off by checking the WildEarthTV dam. There haven't been any updates from the waterhole camera that monitors that dam 24 hours a day. But that's not to say there's not anything lurking out of view of the camera. While Jason and I were changing the tire, we found a beautiful little frog called the painted reed frog, and it's almost worth going back there to show you guys. But we are far away. Let's see, we might go back there if it continues to clear up. But if we don't go back there, don't worry, I took some photographs and I'll put them onto my Facebook page, Scott Dyson Safaris, and feel free to have a look at the picture of the frog on there. I'll upload it after drive, and a few of my other photos that I take along the way. A lot of you will hear my camera clicking, so you may be interested to see in the end results. So my Facebook page is a good place to do that. I wonder where Karula is. For those of you who are new to this safari live experience. There's a particular female leopard that we've seen, and she is the dominant female of this area that we mainly spend our time. But haven't seen her for a few days, so it would be great to find out what she's been up to. And this is a good area to expect to bump into her. Sadly, all at the dam seems quiet, so we will just continue on. Here's a pretty little bird. Well, I'm just gonna get, it was a flycatcher. Just gonna get my book out quickly and confirm which one it was. A, B, C, D, E, F. So that, I'm thinking, was either a spotted flycatcher or a dusky flycatcher. Very pretty little birds. Yeah, I think it was the African dusky flycatcher. As it landed, it flicked its wings twice, and when they do, that is a branch. So another pretty little bit, because a lot of them are so that unless you are looking at them from very close, you're really able to appreciate how pretty a lot of them are unless you are very zoomed in on them. And it would be the same for a leopard. I mean, if a leopard was that small, you'd quite easily drive past it and not think anything too... Uh-oh, the drizzle's coming back. Anyway, we will continue, but merely because of their size, a lot of them get overlooked. So that's why I try as much as possible when we do have a good opportunity to see any animal, big or small. But when we've got a good view presented to us, or a close angle, especially with the birds, I try and stop and show you. And we do have some of the viewers that have even got bird lists, and I can't remember exactly who it was, but there's a group of people somewhere that I think have 170 birds on their list from this, since we've been operating, I think, this last couple of months. So hopefully the African dusky flycatcher is a new one for their list. Uh-oh. Another wave of drizzle is upon us, and I fear that this will mean the end of for this morning. Here we are, but I do fear that this drizzle may get too thick. Copy that view, thank you. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it, Jason. There's a beautiful yellow hibiscus flower. Just going to try and make sure that Jason's got the best possible angle. Beautiful. Bright yellow with that dark purple center. And just like we were discussing at the fireside chat last night, the pros and cons of the different seasons and which season Mark and I prefer. And this is another perfect example of the benefits of summer over winter. We certainly wouldn't expect these flowers, or any flowers really, to be around in winter, other than that of the succulents. A lot of the succulents flower in the winter, so there are a few. Sorry, I just heard a noise. I wasn't sure what exactly it was, but I think it was Jason's stomach grumbling. He's a growing lad, young Jason, and we need to make sure to feed him every 2 hours, otherwise he gets irritable. So maybe that's the noise I heard. I'm wondering if we're going to be able to find an angle to show everybody this mist coming in towards us. No, that's not going to work.
They could see it on the monitor.
Yeah, maybe a quick wipe is necessary there.
On it.
Well, for those of you who have hung on and are watching now, thank you very much for staying tuned to us. We have done everything we can to get out this morning, but it just wasn't meant to be. And what that means, hopefully, is that this afternoon we will be spoilt double due to our lack of being able to explore this morning. Anybody that we're looking for there. Oh, wonderful. Oh no, don't do that. Well, maybe we'll be able to show one of the most distinctive parts of the waterbuck. Its rump. That's all we can see. And thankfully Jason's speedy camera work is bringing you in. And folks, what we have here is the very characteristic rump of a waterbuck. It is a male, and you can actually just see one. And you can see he's shaking all of the moisture off of his coat, and he's come back into frame. Wonderful. They are really beautiful, the waterbuck. And we don't get too many of them here in this area. Close to where we stay in the Magnoleti, there's some large herds that hang around a big dam, and the dam has some beautiful big grassy surroundings. But here we don't get to see them very often, so I'm glad we did. I'm just going to see if we can try and get another angle. Thankfully the drizzle's just light enough to not cause us to stop the safari yet, so things are still looking okay, but we are hanging on by a thread. If it gets any heavier, we would have to seek shelter. Oh, should watch the road. Jason, next time you come past here, I think there's some violet back starlings nesting in that dead knob thorn. Okay, so bear that in mind. And nobody home now, it looks like, but that'll be one for another drive for you. Okay, well, if all things go according to plan, we've got another half an hour of broadcasting. So let's just hope this drizzle doesn't get any more heavy. And also, let's hope we find you guys something interesting in the next few minutes. A big python would be good. I would really like that. Or a small python. A few of you hopefully managed to see the tiny baby python that I managed to see, when was it? Last week. So that was the first python this season that I've seen, and they are one of my favorite snakes. They're really beautiful. Typically though, find the snakes become a lot more active after heavier rains, but even this lighter drill could cause a bit more activity from them. Another snake that I haven't seen yet this season is the boomslang, which is actually quite a commonly seen snake because birds can often lead you to them when birds find them in a tree and start mobbing them. Okay guys, well, all of these birds now, speaking of birds alarm calling, you can hear all the birds making a racket. There was even a tree squirrel that let out a shout. So what is it here? A mongoose, a snake, a leopard, a python, or nothing at all? What was going on here? What's going on here?
It's a barbet.
Oh, there's all sorts, and guess what else there is? Oh, they just took off and landed.
Mouse birds.
Yeah, but they're the red-faced mouse birds, and they do have a beautiful red stripe across their eyes. I'm not sure if you'll be able to pick them up from this distance. Oh, that one just had a poop. But they've got a beautiful red strip of red across their eye. Now the drizzle is coming in much harder now, folks, and this is not going to be sustainable. Oh. There's some very pretty birds. Let's just film them while we can before we close down, because we are going to have to call this short now, folks. It's getting a bit too heavy. But jumping around in this bush in front of us, and there aren't any really good ones in view that I can see, but Jason, I'm sure, will find one, are some red-billed quelias. The males have got Oh, don't go anywhere, please. The males have got a beautiful bright red bill. Have you got one there?
1, 2, 3. That's all I got.
Well, this is one of the most numerous birds on earth, folks. They come in huge flocks. There's about, they say, 1.5 billion of these birds on the African continent, so that's how numerous they are. And I just thought I'd try and give you a quick glimpse of them, but with this weather and with our high-tech equipment, it's not going to be possible for us to continue filming this morning, and I'm very sorry about that, but we've tried our best, and I'm hoping this afternoon it will clear, but only time will tell. Until then, we're going to start heading back to camp and get all of this equipment dry, and myself and Mark will be out this afternoon, weather permitting, so we look forward to seeing what happens then. Anyway, we're going to head back and we will see you later.